Like, if you think of your 7-year-old nerdy self, like prepubescent, 7, 8, 9,
Oh, that's so
that
true.
girl, let her out. She's the one with the goal.
Welcome to the Wild and Finally Fucking Free podcast show. This is a space where truth talking gets real, behind the scenes grit of the future humans is laid bare, and we are celebrating and sharing the real raw stories of change agents, neurosparkly people, the witchy wild women, the deep feelers, the unapologetic sensors, the status quo challengers, and the huge-hearted healers and helpers. And guiding you through this wild ride of entrepreneurship and full heart-led contribution to the world is me, your host, Kylie Patchett, aka KP. I am a proudly neurosparkly, natural-born status quo challenger, and I thrive on helping disruptors, rebels, and revolutionaries find their voices, amplify their message into the world, and harness their raw potential, alchemize it into unleashing your full potency. Not only will I be sharing the behind the scenes of some of the most amazing, most status quo challenging thought leaders, I'll also be lifting the veil behind my own business. In 2024, I 18x'd my monthly income. Still blows my mind to say that. And this year, I am leaning into how joyful and fun it would be to shift from 6 figures to 7 figures in a quantum shifting year, all through leading from my full unapologetic voice, my unleashed potency, and with my big, wildly lit up heart leading the way every single step of the way. So together with my guests, I am going to be sharing the mess and the magic, spilling the tea on the identity shifts behind stepping into thought leadership, breaking the ties that bind us, unlearning old patterns, and reweaving brand new ways of living, loving, learning, and leading. We're here to break boundaries, reimagine what's possible, all while collapsing timelines and leading with joy, love, and our fiercest wild woman selves. This is not just a podcast. It is a rebellion. It is a revolution. It is an invitation to join the Mad Hatters collective movement. And by Mad Hatters, I mean all the colourful, creative, gorgeous, world-changing, out-of-the-box humans out there. If you've ever longed to be wild and finally fucking free, this is your sign to lean in. Let's get started. Hello, 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 my love. Kylie here. Happy New Year. You are just about to dive into a very special summer series episode because I worked all the way through Christmas and New Year, but I'm taking some space and grace because I'm just about to turn 50. So, whilst I'm offline, enjoying and celebrating and marinating in stepping into a whole new decade, we have chosen a few of our favorite episodes, and here is one. Enjoy. May your new year be full of everything you need, want, and desire. And I will see you, or you will hear from me, on the other side of the Festival of 50. Let's dive in. Hello, gorgeous people. It's Kylie. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. And today I have a returning guest, Kate Codrington. I'm doing a happy dance because I love this woman. Hello, Kate. How are you?
I'm heart-bustingly thrilled to be here and to be here again.
Yeah.
It's 7:45 in the UK. Forced my little eyesies open at 6:45.
Sorry.
I've been necking coffee and doing headstands to wake up enough to talk.
Oh, now that is a good combination. Calm the nervous
I did the
system.
headstand first,
Wait,
coffee
okay,
later.
Good. We just had a whole discussion about how a headstand stand could be also double used as a steaming apparatus for one's nether regions. So that was a good way for you to start the day, I'm sure. Oh,
Well,
dear.
maybe start with headstands. Close with
Yes,
vagina
probably
steam.
top end first, then bottom end, definitely. Now we've
Right.
got that
Well,
straight.
now that sets the tone for this podcast nicely.
Basically, nothing
You
is
know what
off
you're in
limits.
for, people.
I love it. This is why I love talking to you. And I know it's always like the Australian to UK time difference is such a pain in the bum. So I am grateful that you once again have gotten up early for us. It's actually just about to be massive storm here. So hopefully our internet is fine. Anyway, for those people who don't already know you, could you please introduce your gorgeous self?
Well, what am I? I'm postmenopausal. So that gives you for some years now, for about 6-7 years. So I have a non-estrogenic view of the world. So the first thing you should know about your life, if you were female, born female at birth, is that it gets better,
Yes.
a lot better. And life with different levels of estrogen post-menopause is exceedingly good. Exceedingly
So
good.
good. Do you know, I remember back to when we first talked, and it was just before our family Christmas. So we have family Christmas in March. So family Christmas in March. And we spoke, and one of the key things that I still remember to this day, I had it on my wall for a very long time, is from that episode was self-care is anything that makes you feel safe. And that really hit home to me because I was still in the early stages of that complete discombobulation, deep in like swinging from rage to crying to, didn't know who the heck I was. And now I feel like I'm at the quickening stage. It's like I feel like my little ovaries are sputtering to their end, their last hurrah. But when I first started the podcast and I heard people like you saying about postmenopause and how it gets better, that was like a life raft at those times. So I'm so grateful to be able to connect to people in all stages of their lives, and all genders and gender identifications. But thank you for saying that for the rest of us that are not quite there yet.
Yeah, it's really important because the dominant narrative is one of decay and deficiency and illness and falling apart. And there is no doubt that we get more vulnerable as we age. An aging body requires more care. There is no doubt about that. And the care that you're learning, the way that you learn to care yourself in perimenopause, sets you up to do that well. So I guess I have a longer perspective now about, it's not just about getting through, sort of staggering through your 40s without too much injury. It's about setting up the second half of your life.
Yeah, setting the scene. That's so powerful. I interrupted you when you were introducing yourself. So please continue. We got to the different
There'll be lots of
estrogenic.
interruptions. I just did one. There you go.
It's all right. We bounce off each other. It's fine. You're along for the ride, listener.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you the more conventional answer. I am a writer. I published 2 books. The most recent one is a journal, and it will be out in Australia very soon, November. And I also, what else do I do? I'm a Yoga Nidra guide. I'm passionate about lying down and doing nothing and getting into a dreamy in-between state.
Oh, amen, sister. Yep.
I'm a huge fan of the liminal from that Yoga Nidra and emergent process. So I've been a therapist for more than 30 years, and I mentor people, individuals and groups. And my interest is in what is in the wisdom that is emerging gently from us. So it's often stuff that we don't like. It's often that rage. It's often that difficulty. It's often the compression. It's referring to what we were talking to earlier. It's often stuff that is challenging and difficult for us that is emerging and wanting to speak and wanting. So my job is to hold the space for the soft animal body, I think. Like Mary Oliver said, and to kind of be the champion of the soft animal body and hold space for that. I think that's, obviously I make up what I do every day, but
isn't that what being an online business owner is? You just make up titles and live into them, like, really?
Yes, exactly. That's my current iteration. I'm thinking, that is what I do.
That's so beautiful. I love that. I know that you've been drawn to working with women in transition for many, you know, like the whole time that you've been a psychotherapist, but so many different modalities. And I feel like they're all woven in together to have this beautiful, I don't know, like a soft place to land is what I want to say, like that where people can
Yeah.
rest and allow. I love the word emergence, because to me that's emergence is very different to pushing for the answer, or, you know, that striving, like it's very, it's the opposite of all of that, right? It's the waiting and the resting and the listening and the depth and the mystery and the darkness, and then the
Yeah.
invitation.
And that it's mysterious. And I think that's the thing. So it requires us to sort of walk carefully and slowly in the dark to feel our way. And, you know, that's really challenging for a 21st century human with Instagram, because
Yeah, with Instagram, I know, right?
because we want three top tips, and we want 3 steps, and we want it really clearly laid out, and we want goals, and we want, you know, all that sort of old school coaching stuff about name your goals and 3 steps and visualize it and off you go. And that's one that I mean, that suits some people.
Yes.
There's no doubt that that really suits some people. And I think for an unfolding, sensitive person, that often misses the mark, and you miss the juice. You miss the tolerance for being with ambivalence, for being with paradox.
I knew you were going to have a mic drop few moments where you just like that, like,
Yeah, I know. I was like, whoa, Kylie, you draw it out of me.
good.
But you miss that, and these kind of both and ambivalence, paradox, not knowing and knowing, like I mean, you're in the zone. You have that complete. I know nothing. I'm in the fog. I can't think.
Who the fuck am I?
Yeah, I don't know who I am, and I absolutely know. It's like, what is that? And that people, that is just such a profound state of being human, poetic state of humanness,
isn't it?
Which it's easy to like, oh well, I don't really know, and I'm too, and I miss it, and then you miss it, but it's like it's just like, you know, so expansive.
Oh my God, you are so speaking right where I am at the moment, because there's this I still have a very strong part of me that likes the black and white and the structure and the step by step and the goals and the this and the that, and yet there's a much deeper and much stronger, and getting stronger by the minute, part of me just going, just allow it to unfold. And I think when you said before, you know, the structure or the goals or the kind of like 1, 2, 3 suits some people, but I think the nuance there is also some people at some phases and stages of life. I think that the younger version of me had such a high drive for what she saw as safety and security, which was at that stage living in my head and planning everything out. And now I know that is an absolute lie for me anyway.
Yeah, thank you. That's really clarifying. And it reminds me of my old teacher, Gerda Boyson, who would talk about the river and the banks. Some people need sometimes the banks need to be really high and really strong.
Yep.
To allow the river to flow through really fast. If you think about a gorge or something like that. And sometimes the banks are low, the river runs wide and slow.
Yes. Oh, I love
so
that.
It depends on, exactly, life stage, what you're doing. And certainly in terms of safety for a vulnerable person who is not feeling safe, then you absolutely need strong banks, because we all know, if you think about the sort of archetypal yoga fairy and everything's wonderful.
Yes.
I'm flapping my arms around if you're not watching the video. No, it's ungrounded, nothing ever happens. It's all a bit heady and vague, and, you know, then nothing ever happens. So she has a wide river. She needs stronger banks.
Yes, exactly.
And also,
to ground it.
You can get stronger banks by physical banks by doing, you know, like lifting weights, muscle training, getting stronger. You get the physical ego as well. So there's physical stuff. It works on all levels. There's physical stuff you can do.
Like all those layers, isn't it? So many layers and so many. You are again, just echoing a conversation I had this morning where I said to my friend, you know what? I used to be like I have been for such a long time. I think I started lifting weights when I was maybe 18. And just in the last, I think about 12 months, I've had to stop to refocus on rehab. And now I've been given the all clear. And I'm like, the groundedness that I get and that real, like, I don't know, it does something to my energy where there's this more solid of a presence, it feels like, in my body.
Yep.
And I miss that so much. So getting the yay, just recently I'm like, okay. And now the challenge will be, because I'm going to expect myself to be able to lift at the, the ability that I had when I had to stop a year ago. And that is not going to be the case. So it'll be a gentle. Don't
And
rush.
I think you'll know as you gently and slowly increase your weight, you'll find that you have more capacity in your life, more capacity for holding yourself, for holding your clients.
Yeah. I've really, really missed it. Although I do have to say that I think the space that was created by some of the changes that happen at the same time have also much more opened me up to rest. And like we were talking before we started recording, that I've just spent the last hour with my legs up the wall creating content by dictating it, because I was like, I need the physical and nervous system reset. And I'm actually feeling very capable of doing that, just still doing the content creating, but doing it in a way that actually works for me. Whereas I think when I had such a structured view of what physically healthy meant, I was missing all the magic that you teach and hold space for. So I'm grateful for the space to learn both. And I'm also
you have just named a key perimenopausal skill. People say, how do I rest? How do I rest? I learned it's I run 2 businesses, I have 2 kids, and I work with I look after my parents. How do I do it? And the key there is, once you've delegated everything and let go of whatever you can let go of, is to change the way in which you do things. So it's a qualitative change. It's exactly as you're saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Dictating your content with your legs up the wall. Instead of sitting hunched up at your desk with your fingers.
Yes. And the precursor to that was an hour and a half in bed, because I just was like, I actually just need to lie flat for a little minute. So I did a very long meditation, and then I crossed off probably, 4 hours of stuff that I was going to do. Last week, Kylie, who did her list for this week, who obviously was in a high functioning mode. And today Kylie looked at it and went, what the fuck what are you thinking? So yeah, delegated half of it and just ditched the rest, because I am getting much better at going, you know what, I'm going to lower my expectations of myself. So yeah, I feel that that's part of it as well. It's and approaching the things that are important to me, that I do value to get done, in the lightest, most like joyful and enjoyable way, even if it's creating content that's like, do I really feel like creating next month's content? No, not to be honest, but sticking my legs up the wall and doing it playfully actually felt quite good. So yeah, it's just Hey gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, my sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing, who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old learned limitation patterns keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode. Approach, I think, sometimes as well.
Once you have this more open curiosity about how you can approach the tasks that you have to hand, what I notice, and what I observe in other people, is the energy. We're back to rivers again. The energy runs through you more easily. So it's not. It's the different. It's kind of like the difference between pushing through and allowing, except that the energy wants to come through you. That there's life is already waiting and wanting to come through you. Yep. And mostly we stop it because we're ill, or we don't have the capacity, or we are afraid, or it's not safe, or 1,000 reasons why we can't allow that. But by sticking your legs up the wall, for example, it allows life to flow through you, and it will likely take you to different places that are, my pea brain, my pea brain cannot conceive of where I want to go. I wouldn't ever have imagined that I would have created what I've done in the last 5 years.
I love that.
Except that I got out of my own way.
Yeah. Yes. Do you think part of that happens if we allow it, like if we're not just saying, no, I have to stay exactly the same and I'm just going to force my way through perimenopause and it's going to be a shit show and whatever, which there is a certain amount of that kind of idea on. Anyway, we don't even want to go there. Do you think that opening up to new ways of being is one of the benefits of going through this like initiation portal? Because actually before you answer that, I should introduce to people, if they don't already know about your first book, before we get to your second one, why I invited you on the show the very first time was because I read your book right in the beginning of the absolute clusterfuck stage of perimenopause, where I just didn't even know. I thought I was actually having a mental breakdown, and I found your book Second Spring, or someone told me about it, and I read it over Christmas, New Year, like 2 years ago. And I was like, I need to interview this person, because the way that you were talking about like rest and self-care and taking care of yourself on multiple levels so that you have the capacity to step through perimenopause was like, what? Hang on a minute. Is this even is this a possibility? Do I get to actually change the way that I am being in the world? I know that's a very long question, but do you think that one of the gifts is changing your approach, or being invited to change your approach to something?
I think you can't help it. Like that's what menopause is for. Menopause is an invitation to step closer to yourself. That's what it is.
Oh, stop it. Too many quotes, Kate. Menopause is
Well,
an
it is. It
invitation.
absolutely is. If you think about it, like in psychotherapeutic terms, it's actualization, it's individuation, it's coming to yourself, it's dropping your conditioning, it's therapy.
Oh, so good.
It's cheap. It's free therapy.
Free therapy
Yeah,
that you don't actually get to decide one way or the other. You just are if you're
yeah.
born with if you're born with female parts. And
Yeah,
mm,
that's what's
mm.
happening. And of course, we know if you've ever been in a healing process or a growthful process that it hurts because you have to let go of stuff and you have to grow out of your like hermit crabs. We have to scuttle across the floor to the next sized
Oh,
shell.
that. I'm like in between shells at the moment. So I'm in that beautiful, like it's the liminal, but it also feels quite vulnerable, but also really powerful. And like, which shell will I choose? And how am I going to show up in the world? And
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in that amazing position where all of a sudden, it's like once I challenge one condition, it's like all of them are like a, ball of string. And it's like, I've pulled at one and now this one's unraveling and this one's unraveling and this one. And I'm like, holy Julie, can you do any more up leveling and unraveling and becoming more of yourself than this? I don't think so. I just think far out. But yeah, I love that hermit crab thing. Do we have to go back into a shell? Can I
Well,
be
I
like
think
a
that's
star, like a
I think
starfish?
that's a great question. And I think that a lot of people because I'm postmenopausal and because I talk about this stuff, people think I've got it sorted. But of course, I'm
Don't pop
just
our bubble, please.
blundering blundering around in the dark, bumping into furniture and burning out again and
Yeah.
lying down. And
Yeah.
I'm as messy as anybody else. And I think what I observe in myself and in my clients is that we try on different shells to find what works in any given moment. So you don't want to be too armored, do you?
No,
You don't want to be too rigid. But there are
definitely
times
not.
when you have to put on your warrior. Let's stick with shellfish. You have to put
Yeah.
on your big thick oyster shell and
Yes.
like do some shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it depends on. I think that what we would look for is choice between, like both
Yeah.
and.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
you think about great leaders, they can be very vulnerable and very firm.
Yes. Absolutely. And they
And that's
know when to use each of those. And I think that's the wisdom, isn't it?
yeah. Mm. So I think that's what I would aspire to.
Oh.
Okay.
Do you know I've got a jukebox in my head at all times and it is playing. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. So a little bit of a country twist to our shell analogy. But to me, it's like, yeah, you've got to know what to bring to what occasion.
Kenny Rogers. Is that
Yeah,
Kenny
Kenny
Rogers?
Rogers. Yeah. I'm not going to sing it because I sang last week when I was recording and I'm thinking, God, we're trying to increase listenership, not decrease it. Oh dear. I'm interested to hear when you wrote, how long ago did you actually write Second Spring? Because I know when it was published, but did you,
Oh, yes.
was that a
It was
menopause?
published 22. I think I started 2019,
Mm-hmm.
2019. I probably
And
started secretly 2018, like not
secretly,
telling
yes.
them. I'm not writing a book. I'm just
Not
writing a
writing.
very, very long blog.
That's going on and has chapters. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm curious about the process of deciding that, because you've got so much mastery in this space and you've been working in this space for such a long time. What was the process of deciding that you were going to, because to me, writing a book requires a certain amount of deciding I'm claiming my thought leadership and I'm stepping up to be, the intention is to share a message, and often a message that hasn't been shared before, around something that you're passionate about enough to want to deliver to a far greater audience. Can you tell us a bit about that journey? Did you relate to that? Was it a conscious, like,
Oh my God.
I'm stepping up?
I think I've been waiting for 5 years for somebody to ask you this question.
Okay, go.
I could feel the landscape changing. So I should preface this by saying I'm not a driven person. I'm kind of a bumbling about kind of person. I'm quite introverted. I don't like being visible, all those things.
Yeah.
So, and then I could feel the zeitgeist rising around periods, around period power, period consciousness. Period poverty was starting to be in the news.
Mhm.
And I had trained at Red School with Alexandra Pope
Yes.
and
Sanchez.
Shani Hugo-Wurlitzer. So I was in that world, and I was like, oh, menopause is next. And I had this, like, talk about energy coming through you. I was absolutely driven. I was like a Jack Russell Terrier on the tail of a rat.
I have a half Kelpie, half Jack Russell. You are describing Frankie in a nutshell, but not on a rat. He would rather
Like
chase
noisy,
something like a cat.
noisy, absolutely determined. Nothing would put me off. And I literally put all other bits of my work aside. In retrospect, I can see this.
Wow.
To make that happen. And I knew that I had a key, it's like, I just knew that I had a key piece in this, because I was working with Red School at the time, and they have they have done the most innovative, deep, soulful, amazing work, like game-changing work. And it's not accessible to most people because
Correct.
of the language
I would
they
agree.
use.
Totally.
Because of because the language, and they make it it's just not accessible, really.
I agree.
And I knew that my job, because I'd been writing for a long blogging for a long time, was to bring their work into the fore.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So good.
And I just pursued it, and I was gonna self-publish. It's like, right, I've got this enormous poo, and I have to get this poo out, and then I can get on with my life, because it's really uncomfortable.
And it's coming whether I like it or not. So you may as well.
Yeah, it's coming.
Love it. I love it.
So I looked at my one of the shelves of women's health books, and I just emailed all the people who I could find their emails, and I sent them the first chapter. And to my amazement, some of them wrote back, and to my great amazement, one of them said, that's pretty good. Do you want me to introduce you to my agent?
See, and this is the power of bloody. So I just want to reflect back to everyone listening. It's the internal, like, I was called to do something. So I stepped into that. And then my next response to my environment and my knowing was, I might just phone those people and see what happens. Whereas if we go back to that, very brain-based, like, goal setting, you could have been like, I'm going to pitch bloody, bloody, blah, and in a particular way and whatever. And yet you flowed and actually, was able to connect with. So is that the person but publishing house that you ended up going with, the original connection?
And then, so I connected with the agent. She took me on, and she got me a deal at HarperCollins.
Amazing.
Which is, it felt like being Cinderella. I still feel a bit fearful. But then again, things like, I don't know if people have heard of Susie Orbach. Susie Orbach set up the Women's Psychotherapy Centre in the 1970s in London.
Yes.
She's, I think, at the primary agent of body consciousness in the therapeutic world. She's famous because she was Princess Diana's therapist. But she's older now. She's in her 80s, and she's like a voice of reason in the world to me. And I just kept emailing her assistant and saying, "Oh, it's me again. Wonder if Susie would look at that book." And I did that over 2 years or something, and she did, and I got a testimonial from Susie.
Oh my God, I love this.
It's like being blessed by the fairy godmother. Some people dream of getting married. That was never my thing. I never bought into that bullshit.
I'm so glad I asked this question, because I love hearing these types of things. Oh, so good. So was there any, because originally you said, being introverted, don't like being visible that much. Did you have to what was the process like of then, okay, now I'm out of the closet as a published author and I need to, was there a lot of promotion for the first book? Because that was well before I came into
Well,
menopause.
the process of coming out has been happening over 30 years. So
Yes.
it took a long time.
Here I am.
What happened with the publication was it ignited all my persecutory fancies.
Yeah,
really.
of course.
About being called out, about being cancelled, about being, navigating gender issues in the current time. One is attacked by both sides, people who feel that women's rights are being lost and people who feel that trans rights are being ignored and it's not inclusive. And, you got...
Yeah.
It
feels very charged, doesn't it?
It's highly charged. So I had a lot of nervous system soothing to do.
Thank God you had the tools, right? Because that type of thing stops a lot of people even becoming authors or delivering their message to the world, because that fear of being seen and heard at a much greater scale and also claiming your thought leadership comes up with so much shit for us women. I mean, I'm sure for everyone, but so much for, being rejected, judged, being called arrogant, being called whatever, like, fill in the blank here.
Yeah.
So how did you...
Sorry. Hang on, but on the other side of that, the other side of the persecutory fears and the sense of unsafety is that it defined clearly what my lane is.
Correct.
I didn't have to kind of pretend to be the person who knows all about the physiological process of hormones or about bone health or about, I can talk about that, but my thing is the liminal space and the mysterious potential for growth in the seasons. That's my thing. So it kind of defined my lane so clearly.
Yeah.
I can just let other people bang on about their thing.
Whatever their lane is, exactly.
And I absolutely don't get pulled out of my lane anymore.
Yes.
So I'm just, it's like sometimes I talk about aging as being a process of releasing your inner nerd. Like if you think of your 7-year-old nerdy self, like prepubescent, 7, 8, 9, that so girl, cool. Let her out. She's the one with the gold.
Yep.
And when I was 7, I was making little altars under trees and talking to the spirits and not animals, mostly plants.
Well, I had
what do I do now? I make up Yoga Nidras where we talk to plants.
Correct. Exactly. And oh my God, this is making so much sense to me. We have just cleaned out, like I said before, we're building a garden office for me. And part of that is moving everything out of there, which used to be a storage shed. And just the other day I found my 7th birthday present, which was a microscope. Because 7-year-old Kylie was obsessed with biology, obsessed with understanding how human beings ticked and like how everything happened on the macro. And also the other half of me was up in a tree with my entire imaginary, friends, family, etc., talking to fairies and off telling stories, writing stories, telling stories and drawing. That's the 7-year-old me. And I was like, oh, it's like finding a little bit of yourself in a box. It was really cute. And I'm like, I don't know why we've got that, because I don't think that anyone's going to be using it anytime soon, but it was quite sweet because I think that's also a time in my life before my childhood got chaotic. So it's quite I feel like I was developing into me and then it was like interrupted for quite some time. So it was sweet to have that remembering of what was important to me then. And I really love that, coming back to your 7-year-old self. Well, as you were saying that, I was imagining, God, I'm going to bastardize this because I don't even know. This is Kylie with no general knowledge whatsoever. So you're just going to be gobsmacked when this comes out of my mouth. But anyway, Statue of David. Who created the Statue of David, please? Because I'm going to say the wrong person. Is that Michelangelo?
It was Michelangelo.
Oh, go me. Okay. Last time I did this something, and I was talking to someone, I said Da Vinci. Anyway, Michelangelo, have you heard that quote where when supposedly someone said to him, how do you create Michelangelo? And he says, take away everything that isn't him in the block of stone. And as you were saying that, like stripping away the layers kind of thing, or going back to your 7-year-old self, it's like we formed and then we got all those shells and all the conditionings and all the whatevers. And now we're just chipping it back to, you know, who we really are on the inside. That feels, what you said about also defining your lane, I talk about that a lot in the book incubator that I run, because to me, writing a book alchemizes you from, I often see it alchemizing someone from someone who can do and potentially does do a lot of things that are kind of interconnected, to actually staking a claim on a clear lane. Like there's some sort of alchemy that happens where it's like, actually, this is what I want to deliver and this is what I want to be known for because it's true to me. Like, you know, that's my passion, or that's my purpose, message, whatever words you want to use. So that's interesting to hear you say.
I mean, I do many different things. I'm a polymath, you know. I will not do one thing. I would go absolutely ding dong bats if I did one thing, but they all have that theme, you know, that theme of softness is very strong.
Yeah, so good. Oh my goodness. I want to come back to you before we get to your new book, baby, which I'm so interested in hearing about the journey behind that one. When you said before that, when we were talking about goals, like just say the sides of the banks, was there a time in your life when you were more that way inclined, or have you always been someone who is able to kind of flow and, like, you use the language bumbling along, but as a serious security driven planner in my early life, I see people like that, like you, and just go, I love it, because you just follow the magic and you allow it to just happen, or at least from the outside, that's what it seems.
Well, I used to try, you know, because I think, oh, that's the way that I should, you know.
I should.
In our digital world, there are lots of people who tell you that this is the way to success. So I have very frequently tried and given lots of energy to that, and it just hasn't worked.
Which, thank goodness, because it would get in the way of the true magic of Kate Codrington. Let's be honest.
Then I would have been, I don't know, an internet marketer.
Oh God. Oh, just got a feeling in my solar plexus like someone hit me.
If you have online courses, in my fantasy, if I imagine the online courses that I created that tanked, so many of them.
We all have an online course graveyard, Kate. Let's be honest. Everyone who's an online entrepreneur has a course graveyard.
If they had been successful, then I would have had to have, you know, been, if I hadn't been creating the ads myself, then I would have been talking to the people who created the ad, you know. And where would be the fun in that?
Exactly.
Well, I would have been a lot wealthier probably, but.
Well, I don't know. It depends how you define wealth, right?
Absolutely.
Because there's not just one way. I feel like creative wealth for me is something that is so important, particularly given that I shut it away for such a long time. And now I'm like, playtime and drawing time and just for fun creation time is so, for me, so fundamental to my own self-care now. And that's only happened in perimenopause as well. Because it just, I couldn't continue on without that nourishment. That was just because, not for an end goal or to get somewhere or to, I don't know, all the scale or rush or blah, 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 you know, all that crap.
Yeah. It sounds like we both draw, but like our 7-year-old selves, but other people will do other things. You know, there will certainly be people out there who are into animals and ponies.
Yes.
As they say, I would think, or dogs or cats or something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
That will have the same function. And I wanted to say about this creative tsunami that can come through in perimenopause is that, and we're going into seasons here, that creativity comes out of the place of not knowing. So that's a wintry place of.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
whenever you sit with your pen or your pencil or your brush on paper, or before then, there is a place of what's going to happen. You don't really know, and that is what that is the micro. That here we go, here we go. That is the micro
Yes.
that menopause teaches us, because we're sitting in a big unknown for quite some years.
So many. Oh my God, so many. Far out, man. I look back and I'm like, oh my God, this started years before I thought it did. When I was doing all the questioning and the how the fuck did I get here and who the fuck are you, and I don't want to fucking do that. Like everything was like, nah, 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 nah. And I used to just think, God, I'm so rebellious by nature. And I am. That is true. But I realized it was just shedding all of the things that were not something that I wanted to continue, or not something that I wanted to stay available for in the next years, decades, etc. of my life. And again, perfectly timed, because I feel like that creative tsunami is rising in me. That's why I get the sense that I'm almost at the end of almost at the line of the beginning of that 12-month period of, the proving ground. Because I feel that springtime energy whispers, just whispers. And that surge that comes out of the dark, which is very cool. The nice feeling. Which brings us beautifully to your next book creation. Now, what's the story behind this one then? Because so Second Spring came out in 2022. Did you know straight away you wanted to do a journal? Like that was on the cards already, or how did it?
It was just bleeding obvious.
I love what you did there. Just bleeding obvious.
It's just bleeding obvious. Second Spring is a very generous book. I kind of put everything, here's everything you need to know. Here's the food, here's the belly massage, here's the cholesterol attacks, here's the exercise and the movement, and the whole seasons and the meditations and the Yoga Nidra. It's has everything.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm like, here you go, off you go, fix now.
Job done.
But of course, the process of any kind of change and shift requires daily care and daily acts of kindness, I would say. So the journal, which I have to say is absolutely beautiful. The publishers, I wanted it to be a beautiful place for people to land softly and to be compassionate with themselves about how they are being kind to themselves.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely gorgeous. There's gorgeous illustrations and beautiful design. It is lovely. I'm just so chuffed. I'm completely chuffed. And I'm blooming picky.
Do you know what? I saw you open, it must be on Instagram. I saw you open the book, and I did the same with the beautiful Neve from Instinct Yoga when she just opened her book. I just loved seeing the look of sheer delight on your face when you held her, but also obviously looking at the illustrations and being like, excuse me, this is what I imagined. This is what, this is what I was crafting. Did you illustrate it as well?
No, God, that would have killed me. Can you imagine?
Well, I was just about to be very
out and smear it across the wall. Oh my God, no. Words only.
Did you know who you wanted to illustrate? Like, did you?
I know. No, I didn't. I knew what I wanted it to look like. I have a very particular interest in drawing and in line, and sensitive line. Very nerdy. So
line. No, that's the same sort of drawing that I do. So just quietly, same. I'm looking at the cover of it now, and I love the fact that to me it's like this journey that you're going into the unknown. You've got the autumn feel, and there's that.
Yeah, that is a grand job.
I love your subtitle too. It's unlock. So we should say what it's called, because we are talking about a book that we haven't actually announced to the world. So it's called Perimenopause Journal: Unlock Your Power, Own Your Wellbeing, Find Your Path. By the gorgeous Kate Codrington. Now available end of November, is that correct?
In your part of the world, I think mid-November.
Okay, Cool.
I'm not really sure. I thought it was the first. The publishers think it's the first. Amazon thinks
Yeah.
it's the end of the month, and you said 17th. And I know
Yes.
somebody who's receiving one tomorrow morning. So
It's
who
so
the fuck
weird
knows?
because I'm on Amazon Australia now with open and it says released on November the 28th. But, oh, hang on. Then it says UK imports may differ from local products. Who knows? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, this is out mid-November. So either right now or very shortly, the book will be open or available. So when you actually started creating, did you start straight away after the last book? Like how quickly did you give yourself some nervousness?
Let's talk about that, because
Please.
that's really a thing. So yeah, so for people who write books, and I'm sure there are lots of people listening or who aspire to or in the process of now, once you finish, when you what kind that sort of Instagram post that Kylie's talking about, when you open the book and it's wonderful. What happens directly after that is you fall into a dark hole.
Yes, you do.
You fall into a dark winter where everything feels pointless. You don't know what that was. And simultaneously, at that moment, you are asked to go on you are asked to go on podcasts to go all perky and, stretchy, Richard's grin about how marvelous it is. So that's a great paradox to hold. So just know that that's normal.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you say that.
Yeah, it's really important.
We were messaging right when you had hit the next day phase, where you were like, oh, so much. And then now I just have to start with the promotion. And I was like, oh yeah, yep. It is a paradox. And I think, so actually I did want to ask you before, but I will ask about this book specifically, and then we can talk about whether it's different for the first one. How are you taking care of your own capacity right now? Because you are in promotion and you are on that edge of trying to hold this end in the liminal, and it's quite a long period, right? Like you were saying before, it's like 5 months of quite intense, and I like hearing that. I want to stick a fork in my eye, to be honest. But how are you taking care of yourself in amongst all of that?
Extremely diligently. My self-care is absolutely non-negotiable, rock solid, and that includes food. Like I'm eating the best that I ever am. I exercise like a loony. Well, not like a loony. I exercise within my capacity.
Yes.
And that's non-negotiable. The Yoga Nidra I use, which is a guided meditation. I do that 3 times a day.
Oh, wow.
I always have. I may also have a nap. But part of that nap might be Nidra, but I also have a nap. I am diligent. Self-care is diligent with my discernment about what else I take on. I've also had my daughter go. She's just gone to uni, so there's
so
like
much
the whole issue around what the fuck was that parenting thing about?
Yeah.
Where is she? She's just tending to a nice human. I mean, she's always been a nice human, but she's tending to a really nice human.
That's when
she's gone.
I know.
And so
you do the hard yards, and you really should get the benefit at the end of it. No. I know exactly what you mean, though.
Right. Yeah, come on, wipe my ass, girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Payback time.
Oh, thank God that's not just around the corner, God willing. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so that's a huge life transition on top of book release. Far out.
So this all require, so all those things. So I'm extremely diligent about my care.
Yeah. What happens to you? What is your like slippery slide that starts happening if it isn't that diligent?
It's my sleep.
And then everything goes sideways from there, right? When you're not sleeping properly.
My sleep is very telling. And and the interesting thing is that it's good for me to remember, and for people to also remember for themselves, that whatever your symptom is, it's often as a result of something that is charged. And you can call that stress or excitement.
Yeah.
But it's just charge. It's just charge. And it's really helpful to remove judgment from it, So writing and publishing a book and promoting a book is just charged. And there will be an effect of that. That will have an effect on my nervous system, for a certain amount of time. And because I'm a sort of nut job, high energy person who has to work really hard to come down again, I'm just going to be stuck. I have to work really hard to come down again.
Yeah.
And in reality, I am going to be highly charged. My sleep's going to be messed up for the duration. For me, that's really the truth.
That's why I ask, because I find it's funny, interesting to me that my default with lack of self-care much younger would definitely be like a full-on tip into depression. Like sleep was never an issue. I could sleep, like I was like an Olympic level sleeper, like no problem with sleep. But if I got myself into a cycle of not taking care of my basic human needs, like going back to the soft animal body, then depression would be my show up. Now it's actually tipping in the other direction and I'm just coming through a period where I haven't been diligent, and I love that word. I'm actually using devotion as well, because to me, being devoted to my self-care and my capacity, particularly at a season in my business where I'm stepping into an evolution that is requiring more visibility and more being seen, being heard, being, that type of thing, which is also charged. And I just went through a whole week last week where I just got very wobbly and I wasn't devoted. And I notice I get into this crazed, like hyper-focused overworking, just like really, totally ungrounded. So that is the other reason why I'm really looking forward to getting back to the weights, because I know that is a very strong anchor for me energetically. But yeah, I love diligent. Actually, that might even be like my secondary kind of filter, devotion and diligence, because I really love that. I think what do you find when you're working with someone who is finding that they are in that out of balance phase? What do you reckon the main things are that people have resistance around? Like you talked about one before, like I'm too busy for self-care. And that always makes me think of like, you need to meditate, 10 minutes a day. And if you're busy, you need to meditate for an hour. Like that's always that paradox, isn't it? What do you reckon some of the other, like, why do we find this so fucking difficult sometimes?
It's actually, Shani Hugo Wurlitzer at Red School uses the image of a road train, and it takes a long time for a road train to stop. So they put on the brakes and it takes a mile for them to stop.
Yeah.
So that we become we become familiar with different nervous system states.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Whether it's hyper aroused, or whether it's more numb or frozen, or that's however much we might struggle with them, that's familiar. And then to move out of those states takes a long time for us to build capacity to have that capacity to move between. And again, there's parallels between what we were talking about earlier. What we're looking for is more capacity to move between different states.
Yes.
That takes a while. So if you're like, I'm more of a charged nut job, as I
well, I definitely have been in that mode for the last week. Yes.
So for me, for all through my 30s, grounding was like so boring.
Yeah, me too. I'd be like, I don't have time for that
boring.
shit.
Why would I want to do that? It's like nothing's happening here.
Yes. I'm not being very productive when I'm grounding. Oh God.
So that took me a long time to develop decades to develop the capacity to be present with the small and the slow. So I think that, it's not, I wouldn't class that as resistance. It's just expanding our capacity into different ways of being.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And having compassion for yourself when you find yourself off the tracks again, right?
Buckets.
My
gallons, swimming pools, oceans, please.
Oh, yes. So much. Oh my goodness. So I want to come back to the journal and how this can help people be devoted to self-care, because it sounds like another of the safe, soft places to land whilst you're stepping through something that can be challenging, but also has that flip side initiation and invitation kind of magic to it. How would you describe it? If you were describing the self-care journal to someone who is struggling and doesn't know that much about the whole perimenopause caper, like if you're talking to me in, what are we in now? 24. On my birthday in 2022, when I was on the floor, like bawling my eyes out, what would you say? I mean, obviously after I'd calmed down. I'm not meaning that you're not counseling me, but after that, what would you say about the journal?
It's a place where you can note how you were kind to yourself every day.
Oh, I love that.
So
and
that
make
might
it
be
normal, right?
Yeah. So, and that takes that sounds so simple. It can't. It's quite big. Our minds naturally go to how we failed. And so if I think about yesterday, I was so stressed and I didn't eat any protein at lunchtime and blah, blah, blah. But actually, if I really think carefully, I think, well, I let the lights in my office be quite dim on that the Zoom call, the training, the course that I was doing in the evening.
Yeah.
And I didn't sit at my work desk with my ring light, with my face glued to my Zoom screen. I was lounging around on the sofa in the dark, away from the screen.
Yes.
That was really kind. So what else? I let myself eat everything that I wanted for breakfast. All the things.
I had a morning like that this morning. I was like, I am ravenous today. Ravenous.
Right. So over time, I ate all the things, and I sat in dim lights for training over a week, different things over a week. If you look, once you look back over a month, you have all the way, even if in real life, you're not going to fit it in every day.
No.
Forgive yourself for that, straight off. But you're going to have a whole library of ways that you're kind to yourself. And it's sneaky because you're actually rewiring your brain, because our brains are plastic.
Yeah.
You're training yourself to notice how kind you are already.
I just love this because it's like a gratitude journal. It's noticing yourself. Like it's gratitude about how you're holding yourself, which is, same premise as a gratitude journal. It's like notice the things, the positive, juicy, nourishing things, but it's
use your faith, bit of devotion.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I can't wait to get her in my hands, Kate. So is it different this time? Did you have any, was a second book a thing for you in terms of like, will it be the same, or will it have the same sort of success or any of that, or not really?
Well, I was so wildly ambitious second spring, like that Jack Russell. Oh God, I've never said this before, but that Jack Russell really wanted to be standing on top of the world. I really, I did a lot of visualizations about the Sunday Times bestseller list.
Yeah.
And that so there was a lot of reality checking and learning about the publishing industry and the reality of publishing and book publishing and adjusting expectations.
So were you able to be gentler then to yourself with
Yeah.
So again, softer place too, because it's always that tension between expectations and reality, right? If we're not tension.
You want some more book process?
Yes.
Okay.
Go.
Spring was that winter, and then I thought, well, it's winter, then I have to sort of sit in the winter and be with the darkness.
Yes.
So of course my fingers were like, I have to make something. Being with my kind of personality. So then I started to write a book that would bring seasonal awareness to everybody, regardless of gender. So that very grand project.
But so needed.
Like a big world-changing book. And I got to about 40,000 words, and my agent said, I showed it to my agent, and she said, Well, I expect we could probably find one of the smaller publishers, and it would really find its niche. And I was like, like losing her.
You're
So that's like
zigzagging across the room as the air is deflating out of you. Yes.
exactly that. So that took me a while to recover from, because I still wanted it to have those qualities of being really accessible for ordinary people to get. So I did a pivot, and I decided to, yes, use the perimenopausal niche in order to educate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it was a compromise. So it absolutely serves people in that part of their life.
Yes.
And it also has a sort of subtext of making the seasons and seasonal care available to people who are not menstruating, because there's quite a lot of knowledge in the mainstream and publicity about and understanding about the seasons of the menstrual cycle.
Yes.
But then what part of my task is to take that understanding and to translate it for everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's still a really simple way of understanding your self-care and finding compassion and just looking after yourself better.
Yeah.
And cutting out the overthinking. And if you think about it, like postmenopausal, if you finish your periods at 50 and you live to 85, you're going to have 35 years of living without the menstrual cycle as an anchor. So understanding the seasons will guide you happily. And there's also stuff in the journal about looking at moon phases and how you respond to that. So that can then become your guide. So it's still doing the same thing, but within a smaller bit of the population, and hopefully it will reach more people because of that.
Well, and also we also know that the people that you are reaching are often the people that pass down the wisdom as well. So the ripple effect from that naturally impacts,
and then my people,
daughters, friends, husbands, etc. I just love this. I love thank you for being so generous with sharing the journey of the first in-between book as well, because I think, I don't know, it's so easy when we're looking at someone who's done something monumental, like writing a book and getting it published and everything, to be like, they must have just known what it needed to be from the start. And it's just like, no, the truth talk behind this is that there's iterations and there's not failures. Like missteps and pivots and redirecting and nudging and whatever. And that is all actually part of the creative process. And I think, go. Yeah.
I mean, this speaks directly to your work. There's a lot of gatekeep in books and publishing industry, whether you're traditional publishing or self-publishing, however you do it, there's a lot of gatekeeping. There's a lot of rigid armor. There's a lot of withholding of information.
Yeah.
People don't want to talk about the money. They don't want to talk about what they're doing. It's really, really unhelpful.
Yeah, exactly.
And I only was able to publish these 2 books because I had the support of other writers and people who knew and people who said, oh, it's okay. And I had this experience. What was yours? And, it's a community process where you have, if you try and do it by yourself, it will likely break you. You have to lean in.
Oh, 100%. Because all the shit that we've been talking about comes to the surface. And I see it time and time again. It's like this delivering or like midwifing your message to more people. It, needs a circle of support, needs community. It needs people that are truth talking, that have been there before as well, to hold space for you to go, I know you're disappointed, or I know that this is your expectation and maybe it didn't happen, but, like that type of stuff is it's so necessary. And I would say it's also so necessary, not just in books, but in birthing any work or body of work in the world. If we're trying to do it by ourselves, we're not meant to be passing stories or passing wisdom individual to individual. Like that is just not how we are made. So the collective and the ripple effect and that ability to have more reach without having to do it on our own is so much more healthy for our nervous system as well, right? Because like we've just been talking about, there's self-care, but there's also like being able to go into a safe space and go, this is fucking horrible at the moment. I don't like it. Like how, and I don't know, almost want to say like having that coven of fellow game changers around you. It's like we've got you as well from an energetic perspective. Mm. Oh my goodness.
Yes, to all of that.
Oh, so good. So here we are, November 2024. Do you have any sense of what, I don't mean what's next as in what else are you creating, but what will the downtime after this look like? Do you have anything that you crave right now that you're going to give to yourself or not?
Yeah, I could show you. Hang on.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, there's more time for my creative practice. So the other thing I do is I stitch stories. That I haven't got my camera.
Oh my God, I didn't know you stitched stories. I knew that you did textile work, but I didn't know.
Yeah. So this is
goodness, Kate.
Yeah, she'll have received it. She'll have received it by the time this goes live.
Oh, good.
So
okay. I'm like, are we not? Do you need me to blank this out?
For my friend. So we choose garments that remind us of the friend, and then I stitch the story of the friendship into the garment along with it. So that's her face there. So I would like more time to explore story and stitch and drawing, and I also I have a sort of it kind of looks like cartoons. It's sort of a cartoon journaling practice. So I kind of draw my daily life. So it's delicious. But I would like to make them more elaborate,
So does that just
yeah, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, does that just mean allowing more space for that, opening up more space?
Yeah, and that requires more space for more color, more space, more iterations of that. And there's lots of stuff that lots of those that I made. I did the cartoon one night of the kids next door were partying at 4 a.m.
Of course,
and there's me lying in bed, tossing and turning, swearing, and deciding. And then I had to go down and tell them to be quiet, and and then of course I was like so charged I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. And
of course not.
Yeah. And so I have a little story about that, and it's really funny.
It's like, oh, yep, surfing the waves of life over here.
Yeah, and that has some potential to be colored and to expanded and to, just to make
so cool. Do you have you ever, because I know you've done so many different, like you've trained and mastered so many different modalities, have you got an art therapy lens as well that you look?
No, I did. My first education was in fashion. I have a fashion degree.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
that makes so much sense. I do know that from our first interview. Yeah.
That sort of bled all the creativity out of me.
Yeah. I just asked because I just recently went to a retreat by the beautiful Janet McGeever, whose work centers around the divine feminine through the lens of Tantra, specifically for menopause. So she trained under Diana Richardson, who's one of the thought leaders in Tantra. And Janet has an art therapy background. And so we did this process during the weekend that was profound, like so profound, through drawing. And I was just like, oh, there's an entry point here that I haven't experienced before that is quite. It was a huge, like both cathartic, but also there was a power of, the power of actually expressing in, form and shape rather than words was a completely different experience. So very, very, very cool.
Yes, messing with the ineffable. Try saying that when you've had
messing with again. No, well, luckily for me, I can't drink anymore.
So very clearly now.
Well, it's almost like normal daytime for you. You have been delicious to talk to, as always, and I'm so glad that we got to reconnect about this new book whilst you're midwifing it. And thank you as always, for all of the nuggets of wisdom that you've just dropped on me and dropped on our community, because, yeah, so many things. I have to go back in the transcript and pull out your precise quote around ambivalence, because that was one of the ones. And then the menopause coming, more into yourself. Do you want to try again for the ambivalence? Is that what you're thinking? Your eyeballs were to the ceiling. No, okay.
No, I was trying to remember what it was. I was trying to remember
right.
what it was, but I'm sure I would
was
I would
gold.
mess it up if I take another stab at it. But I just wanted to say that the reason if I come up with anything interesting in our conversations, it's because you invite it and because you hold the space.
Thank you
And
so
so
much.
there's something very, very, it's part of that community that we can hold space for each other to allow room for new things and new ways of expressing to, and that is the gift. So thank you so much.
Thank
I'm so
you.
appreciative and grateful.
Thank you. And we will definitely in the show notes put the links to the new book and also Second Spring and also our original episode, because that was golden. I listened back not last weekend, the weekend before. Yeah, when we were going to chat last week. And just so many. I was like, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another one. Like the golden nuggets were flowing. So thank you once again, beautiful Kate.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye. There you go, beautiful one. Another delicious, juicy, truth-talking episode with a disruptor rebel or revolutionary sharing the identity shifts and the mess and the magic of leading right on the edge of your expansion and going first as a visionary leader, as a woman creating a business, and inviting people to completely new ways of learning, living, loving, and leading. It is not lost on me that you have invested your time and your energy in listening to the show. I am so grateful for your beautiful heart, for the work that you do in the world. And I know that if you're here, you are more than likely one of what I call the Mad Hatters. So the quirky, colourful, creative, out of the box, often neurosparkly, paradigm shifters and thought leaders. So I'm so grateful that you're here. If you loved this episode, which I'm sure you did, please do me a favor and share it with someone else who needs to understand that their quirkiness and their full unapologetic self-expression is more than enough, and in fact is the secret sauce to growing a wildly successful, abundant, nourishing, sustainable business. So here is to us, the Mad Hatters, the crazy out-of-the-box people saying no to old paradigms and inviting into the new. And if you'd love to go the extra mile, please make sure that you subscribe on the platform that you're on so you never miss an episode. And hey, it would be sweet, sweet, sweet if you would leave us a 5-star review. It means the world to us and it helps us get this truth talk and this magic and this power out to even more Mad Hatters. So have a beautiful day, and I will speak with you next week.